Hey guys, what's up? It's Edgar once again hanging out in the car during my lunch break at work. And basically what I'm gonna do today is I'm just gonna talk to you guys about my top 10 favorite movies. Now I have a lot of movies that I consider my favorites, but these are the ones that off the top of my head, the first 10 that came to my mind. These are the ones that if I'm flipping through channels at home and I come across one of these, I have to stop and just watch them. I can't just go ahead and put something else. So here we go. Starting with number 10, Pulp Fiction. My wife is so tired of this movie because every single time it's on and I see that it's on, I leave it on. And so she has just become very, very tired of this movie because it's always on if I'm home. And this movie's known for its dialogue. It has great dialogue. The interaction, with the characters, with each other is just an awesome movie. I love it. Quentin Tarantino did a good job with it. Fun fact: Steve Buscemi is the waiter at Jack Rabbit Slim when John Travolta's character and Uma Thurman's character go and have their little dancing competition and everything. He's the waiter, Steve Buscemi. All right, that was number 10. Number 9, Return of the Living Dead. I just can't get tired of this movie. I used to watch this movie all the time when I was younger, when I was growing up. The first time I saw it was with my dad. And my parents never really censored anything from me either. I was able to just watch any scary movie with them that they were watching. No matter what was included in it. Nudity, violence, gore. I love them. This movie I don't get tired of. I can watch this movie every single day and not get tired of it. When I was growing up and I would watch this movie, I used to think the Torment was scary as shit. I used to think this movie was scary because I was a little kid. After I got older and actually got the DVD, I sat down with my best friend Sam and we checked it out. And we were cracking up the entire time. And then that's when I realized it was actually a horror comedy. Growing up, I always thought it was a horror movie. And it turns out it's a horror comedy. It's great. And fun fact about this movie, this was actually the first movie that introduced zombies who had a hunger for brains. And zombies that can actually run rather than just kind of, stumble along. These guys can actually run and they're going to get your brains. So it's scary. Number 8, Jaws. If this movie's on, I have to watch it. My kids love this movie. If it's on, they want to watch it. And Steven Spielberg's first major film, from my understanding. And I'm sure all you guys have already watched this movie. This movie's great. And it just made getting back in the water scary. Fun fact about Jaws, the shark's name is Bruce, which was named after Steven Spielberg's attorney, who's still his attorney to this day, from my understanding. And Bruce is also the name of the shark in Finding Nemo, and this was the inspiration for that name, by the way. That was number 8. Number 7. And in reality, number 7 is really the entire series, not just one movie. I just picked this one just to show it. Star Wars. The entire series. Obviously, the older ones are better than the prequel movies. But I like them all, to tell you the truth. I like all of them. They all have something special to them. Everybody knows about Star Wars. It's funny, many people haven't even seen Star Wars. And you should get on that if you haven't seen it. But, yeah. I don't even need to really get into much details about Star Wars with you guys. I'm sure you guys know a lot about it. A couple fun facts about Star Wars. In Star Wars The Phantom Menace, during those scenes with the Republic Senate, in one of those little pods, in one of those little platform pods, you can actually see 3 aliens who look exactly like E.T. from Steven Spielberg's film E.T. the Extraterrestrial. There's also, during one of the scenes in the Trade Federation, when the Viceroy and all of them are talking, somewhere in the background there's a couple little droids, little tiny droids. They're just kind of marching along, and they look exactly like E.T. as well. Just the shape that they're made, they look like E.T. And what else? In Star Wars Episode 3, during the beginning of the film, when I believe is Senator Amidala's ship is docking into one of those platforms that they have, those docking platforms. If you look towards the bottom right hand side of the screen, in one of the lower platforms, you can actually see the Millennium Falcon also docking into one of those lower platforms. That was number 7, by the way. Number 6, again, series, but I do have just 2 specific ones that I love, is Die Hard. You know, action. I'm an action guy, and Bruce Willis was just awesome in these movies. Particularly Die Hard 1 and Die Hard with a Vengeance are my favorites. Tell you the truth, I haven't even seen Die Hard 2, and I have it, but I have not even taken time to really watch it from beginning to end. And all the other ones after that, Live Free or Die Hard and A Good Day to Die Hard, they weren't really that great. But yeah, this movie, to me, this is the one that really put Bruce Willis on there, you know, as a big-time action guy. And his character is just awesome. He's a New York cop. I'm from New York, so I can relate. Not as a cop, because I'm not a cop, but just as a New York guy, you know. And he's a badass. Fun fact about Die Hard, or, you know, the Die Hard series. When John McClane says, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker," that was actually Bruce Willis just making a joke. He was just trying to get everybody on the set to crack up, and they actually left it in the movie, and obviously it became his biggest tagline. Number 5, once again, series. Indiana Jones series. Obviously the Crystal Skull wasn't that great, but definitely the original 3 are great. I personally like The Last Crusade more, but that's because I'm a Sean Connery fan also, and I just like the interaction between Indiana Jones and his father. Henry Jones, I think is his name. You know, Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. I think that they had great chemistry together as father and son. And let me see. Fun fact about Raiders of the Lost Ark. Specifically from this movie. In the scene in Cairo when Indiana Jones shoots the swordsman, instead of actually fighting him, he just takes a gun out and shoots him. The reason for that was because Harrison Ford actually had food poisoning. He wasn't feeling good. He had a fever. He was just sick. And he just did not want to really deal with having to be on a set for much time, because obviously he needed to get back to his trailer and use the restroom, basically. So, yeah, so he just kind of pulled that out of the hat and just shot him. And that was it. That was the end of that. And I think it was great because, to me, it seems like that's exactly what the character of Indiana Jones would have done anyway. So, and that one right there was number 5. Number 4, the Rocky series. I have Rocky Balboa here because turns out I used to have the entire set, but I still had him in VHS, and I kind of put those away and left space in my shelves for me to get myself either DVDs or Blu-ray set of the Rocky movies. And it turns out I haven't done it yet. So, but I do have this one on DVD, so I just took this one just to show you guys. I'm talking about the Rocky series, and I think Rocky Balboa is probably one of the most beloved characters in the history of cinema. And another set of movies that I used to watch with my father, just growing up, you know, and there's another one. Every time it's on, well, obviously all of these, every time they're on, I have to watch them. But Rocky is like, I don't know, it just feels special to me. I remember they used to give it a lot on Sundays back in the day. I used to come home from church and one of the Rocky movies was on, and I would always sit down and watch them. My favorite ones are 3 and 4, when he battles against Clubber Lang and against Ivan Drago. Fun fact about Rocky 4, when they brought in Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago to fight against Apollo Creed, which was a Carl Weathers character, they were rehearsing, and Dolph Lundgren actually punched Carl Weathers, like for real, on his chest, and sent him to the hospital. That's how hard he hit him. That's how strong he was. And Carl Weathers was actually going to quit. And it actually took some convincing from Sylvester Stallone to get Carl Weathers to actually stay and, you know, actually do the movie. That's crazy. That was number 4. Number 3 is going to be Terminator 2. And even though I like the entire series, Terminator 2 is really the one that works for me. Another one that I watched with my father, another series of movies that I watched with my dad. Arnold Schwarzenegger actually happens to be my favorite actor. And the reason why he's my favorite actor is because when I was growing up, and I saw the first Terminator movie, he actually reminded me of my dad. So therefore I took a liking to him, and he's been my favorite actor since. And that's just what that is. Terminator 2, another movie. Can't get tired of it. I could watch it every day. And it's just awesome, man. The first one was great. Second one was like the first one times 10 to me. That's just how I feel about it. And let me see. Fun fact about this one. Towards the end of the movie, there's a scene where the T-1000, morphs into Linda Hamilton's character, Sarah Connor, in order to kind of try to fool John Connor. And then, the real Sarah Connor shows up right behind him and, shoots him and all that. Turns out that was actually Linda Hamilton's twin sister, who just kind of, just to have that scene, she has a twin sister, and that was that. Number 2, and this definitely is a movie that I can never get tired of. I love the entire series, but the Back to the Future series, specifically Back to the Future Part 1, that's the one that I cannot get tired of. My wife cannot get tired of it. Just recently, on October 21st, 2015, when obviously that's the date that they go back, they go to the future in Part 2. My wife and I actually went to the theater and we saw it on the big screen for the first time ever, which I thought was awesome because we had never seen any of these movies in the big screen, and they actually gave all 3 of them, 1, 2, and 3, back to back. It was an awesome experience. It was great. It's a movie that, since we can never get tired of it, you definitely enjoy it. You go check it out in the theater, you would enjoy it, and that's exactly what we did. This movie, I can never get tired of. I can actually watch this movie, and as soon as it finishes, I can start it over and watch it again with full, attention. I would still enjoy it the same way. Fun fact about Back to the Future. In Back to the Future 2, when Marty McFly goes to the Cafe 80s, and there's these 2 kids towards the back by the wall trying to get a arcade game to work, and Marty goes and kind of shows them how to play the game. One of those little kids is actually a little kid, Elijah Wood. Obviously, when he was still a tiny little kid, before he grew up and started doing all the other stuff he did, like Mr. Frodo. So yeah, and that was number 2, and here goes number 1. This is my all-time favorite movie, like I said, of all time. And even though I cannot specifically watch this movie and then watch it over immediately afterwards, like Back to the Future, this is still my most favorite movie out of all the movies ever made, and it is Jurassic Park. Once again, I am a fan of the entire series. Some of them are obviously better than others. None of them are ever going to be better than the first one. Growing up, I was always, as most little boys, I was definitely into dinosaurs. I used to collect a bunch of dinosaur toys, and I used to read every information and fact and books about dinosaurs that I can. I just wanted to get all knowledge about dinosaurs. I was fascinated by dinosaurs. So when this movie first came out, it was like heaven for me. And obviously it was made in a great way. Steven Spielberg did what he had to do in order to get this film done correctly. It has mistakes, but if you're just a regular movie watching person, you're not even gonna notice, these mistakes. But I love Jurassic Park. There's a lot of little things that I can say about Jurassic Park as far as like fun facts, things like that, but I'm just gonna give you guys one. And the reason why is because I actually never noticed this until I started doing a little bit of research just earlier today. And I just found this out. I never ever noticed this, but in one of the scenes, Dennis Nedry, which is Wayne Knight's character, I think it's in the scene when he's going to have a little financial debate with John Hammond. And he has like 2 or 3 computer monitors in front of him on his desk. In the one all the way to the left, he has the movie Jaws just playing. It's just there and it's just playing. So he's actually working and watching Jaws at the same time. And I just found that out today. I didn't even know. Obviously, some of you guys obviously probably already knew that stuff, but it was just weird to me because I had never noticed that. And usually I find a lot of stuff like that just by watching the movies. I always look out for stuff like that. But so yeah, so those are my top 10 favorite movies of all time, which I do not get tired of. I will always watch. Like I said, there's a bunch of other movies that, yeah, I consider my favorites, but these are the top 10 that really came to my mind when I started thinking about it. I'm going to have a couple more stuff coming out soon. A couple more top 10, you know, like horror movies, guilty pleasure movies, different things like that. Or if you guys have any suggestions, then once again, you know, as usual, it's like my second video. Just comment and just let me know. And subscribe, I would appreciate it. Egg615 as my channel. And that's it, guys. All right, talk to you later.